And then they used our celebration. They used our Juneteenth as a musical celebration because what? Because black people, we love to dance and sing. And to me, I just found it disingenuous, right? No executive orders, no public policies, none of that. Um, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that, on the your thoughts on the celebration of Pride versus Juneteenth.
Okay, let's put it this way. In consultation with quite a few of my old school friends who went through an episode years ago, two or three, trying to get some recognition for black contributions to this country, of all the times they could pick to celebrate Juneteenth, that was not our choice. Wasn't even remotely close. It was just a thing with folk in Texas. But it's our theory now that the reason that they picked June 19th, Juneteenth, to celebrate is because it falls right in the middle of Gay Pride Month, so it can be co opted by the rainbow crowd. Now, if you look at the current popular symbol for Juneteenth, it's a fist, and the fist is rainbow colored. That illustrates the point. This is an ideal opportunity to associate June 19th, Juneteenth, with the rainbow. Now, I'll give you a classic example, and I'm not trying to offend anybody's religious sensibilities. We celebrate the birth of Christ December 25th. Most of the rest of the world, Eastern Orthodox Christianity, and quite a few others celebrate his birthday late February, early March. Why is it the 25th? Because 1,000 years ago, the Catholic Church decided that since the peasantry would not stop celebrating a number of pagan holidays that also occurred on December 25th, let's just move Christ's birthday to be celebrated December 25th. So now, in our minds, we associate December 25th with Jesus Christ, Christmas. Not Al Samain, not the birth of the god Mithras, the god for the Roman legions, not the birth of Odin, whom we see in Marvel Comics, not the birth of Egyptian Osiris, which we have, not the end of Samain, Al Samain. We have Jesus. Now, that's what they're doing here, we think, which is they want to celebrate June 19th in the middle of the rainbow month. So shortly, people will start associating Juneteenth with the rainbow. And once again, take this specious hookup where you put LGBTQ, the cult, in the same envelope, the same bowl, the same container with what black folk have done. We think that's wrong, it's disingenuous, but already the public is falling for it. So there you go. And by the way, that's two American flags on the left side of the portico, two on the right side, and in the middle you have a rainbow flag. You can't put up a cross there. You can't put up a crescent there. You can't put up a Jewish star there. You can't put up a Buddha there. You can't put up the six-armed Hindu dignity. Put up any of the standard emblems for any religion. You can't have a nativity scene in City Hall. How come you get to have this religion, the cult, the rainbow cult, they get their symbol? Now, I don't have anything against gay folk, get your freak on, but this is a cult. And it is a non-secular cult. It's being treated as the national religion, which is forbidden. Now, let's look at one of those religions I mentioned. I've said this before. Buddhism. There's no God for Buddhism. Buddha was a prince who renounced his royalty to do good things. So, same thing with LGBTQIA plus, etc. You have no deity, but it's a philosophy, a methodology of thinking that a lot of gay folk don't even abide by because of its association with pedophilia, family disruption, and a number of other things, and transsexuality. See, you can disguise or fake what you think you are. which is not the thing. So
Mhm.
we have this, and this is another example of an opportunity being taken to associate in the popular mind something with this rainbow cult that's got to do with black folk. Because for 50 years, there's been this propaganda thing to be tolerant and accepting of black people, of adopting their culture. Everybody does dances that seem to have originated with black folk. The music is permeated with black influence. So when we get acceptance for this, if you can associate the rainbow with it, you bring that same acceptance into the rainbow. And as a matter of fact, you can boost over it, and the rainbow gets more acceptance than the underlying black thing is. And they're not the same, because one's an option and the other one is not. Juneteenth, we old hands think, is a fraud because it was brought back up and resurrected out of all of the other things that could have been declared a recognition of black contribution to this country. You picked it because it's in the middle of Rainbow Pride Month, so you can associate Juneteenth, a black event, with the rainbow. And if you look at the symbol they have for Juneteenth, the silhouetted fist, it's rainbow.
But that's okay. So let me just bring this up to close out on this topic right here. This is what the flag looks like. This is the Juneteenth flag. It has no fist. It has nothing to do with a fist.
I know.
It has nothing to do with rainbow colors. This is the official Juneteenth flag. It says here the star, the white star in the center of the flag, has a dual meaning. For one, it represents Texas, the Lone Star State, because Galveston in 1865 were the Union soldiers and formed the country's last remaining enslaved people. The burst outline of the star is inspired by nova, a term that astronomers use to mean a new star, right? The arc, what is the arc? That extends across the width of the flag represent a new horizon, the opportunities and promise that lay ahead for Black Americans. The colors, the red, white, and blue, represents the American flag, a reminder that slaves and their descendants were and are Americans. June 19th, 1865 represents the day that enslaved people in Galveston, Texas became Americans under law. And while African Americans today are still fighting for equality and justice, those colors symbolizes a continuous commitment of people in the United States to do better and to live up to the American ideal of liberty and justice for all. So this is the official Juneteenth flag, not this red, black, blue, green. No, boo boo. Those are the Pan-Africanist colors that Marcus Garvey ushered in 1920. That has nothing to do with Juneteenth.
Okay, wait. Let me stop you there. Who came up with that Juneteenth flag?
Which one? The
Who
original.
showed us first one?
Let me see. Where is it?
My point is, I'm black. My grandfather was born before the Civil War. He was jet black, half African. My other grandfather was born right after the Civil War. I've got all kinds of connections. One of my uncles got lynched. Another uncle and my grandfather on my mother's side avenged him by murdering the two deputy sheriffs responsible. I got connections. I've had a Coke bottle when I was 5 years old.
So what is your point?
So wait a minute. My point is, no son of a bitch asked me my goddamn opinion as to what the hell I wanted to be a Juneteenth flag. Nobody asked me if I wanted to pick goddamn Juneteenth. The other thing is,
I'm going to tell you who did the flag. I'm about to tell
you. Nobody asked me. Nobody asked you. Who came up with this?
Who came up with the flag? It says the flag is a brainchild of activist Ben Haith, Haith, founder.
Never heard of him.
Founder of the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation.
Okay, damn.
Yes.
Nobody
created. It was created in 1997 with the
Well,
help of
see, that's way
collaborators.
after the fact. The other point is this. Who the hell imposed it? Did they take a plebiscite with black folk as to what they wanted for their national holiday? No. And
Well,
the
that
other thing is, we know about Juneteenth. Nobody black celebrated that because it was a peculiar Texas thing. I get in trouble about this, but I can't keep my mouth shut. Okay, there's some historical inaccuracies. Some Union soldiers, they were cavalry units from Tennessee, went down there right after the conclusion of the Civil War, late May 1865. The Negroes would not believe their fellow folk. What I studied, I got paid for doing it and writing a report on it when I was with a DC think tank 50 some years ago. And there are some interesting things. It was a naval captain or an acting captain of a U.S. Navy vessel who was a lieutenant commander at the time. He observed some black folk being lashed on a wharf down in Galveston, Texas, the harbor. He sent his subordinate down there to see what was going on. He got informed and was told the Negroes think they're still slaves. He had drafted by his secretary a number of letters that he had a mounted detachment of Marines take out around Texas. And they had various, well, they had June 19th. Some of them were dated 1865, most of them. Some were dated, no, most of them were dated June 19, 1866. And some others were dated, a few, June 19th, 1865. So you can look at the letters. They're in the same hand. They're copies written out by a secretary because they didn't have carbons then. They didn't have typewriters and they didn't have printers. Some of them are dated June 19th, 1866. A few are dated June 19th, 1865. So which one is which? One of them is understandable. The other one is inexcusable. So nobody but Texans celebrated that for the longest time. Black folk in the rest of the country that said that's a peculiar Texas thing. So what about all of these other accomplishments where black folk had to be informed? What about when black folk found out? What about when black folk kicked ass? Why don't we put that in there? So this is an interesting thing where somebody that didn't ask the rest of us decides to get some clown in the White House who is a racist son of a bitch going back as long as I can remember having heard him, which started off 51 years ago. And you let him choose that this is going to be the black holiday celebrated. So you got a racist picking it for you, somebody nobody's ever heard of, in charge of a state concerned entity, picking what's going to be the black holiday. I really call bullshit on that.